I keep getting interrupted, y'all. But as I was saying, my babies are young. So if anything was to happen to me, I full-heartedly expect for my family, I don't care what they got going on, to stop what they're doing and, intercede on my behalf, call me back, whatnot, regardless of whether I'm going to heaven, because, and I've already had my conversation with God, so this is between me and him, but I'm coming back here because my children are important to me, and I need to make sure that when we do go to heaven, we all go, and that includes my kids, because, they're what's most important to me after God on this planet, and I refuse to see them led astray. But if I didn't have children, now see, there's what people fail to realize. If you don't have kids, or your children are grown and, you've done taught them all you can teach them, and there's nothing else you can teach them. If you pass away and you go to heaven, there's no reason to leave a place that's peaceful and come back to this hell that we're living in. Like, people don't understand. When you're in heaven, you can see things. You can see the past, you see the present, and you see the future. Who would have looked back at 2016, 4 years ago? You die, you go to heaven. You look ahead, 4 years. You see all of this that's going on, all this corona, people dying left and right anyways. You got to worry about your loved ones, because if they go into the hospital, they might not come back out, and you won't know what happened until, you get a notice from the hospital saying, hey, such and such has died. We can't release the body because they had corona, blah, 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 blah. Who's going to come back to that? There's not one good reason to come back to that. And then you gotta consider it yourself. If you have a loved one who died, you believe full-heartedly that they went to heaven, that they're standing in the presence of God while you're sitting here in pain, do you really want them to come back? I mean, bodies are crushed by whatever vehicle, that hit them, or gunshot wounds, or brain damage, all this kind of stuff. Do you want them to come back from a place where they're at peace, where they don't have to worry about these little trivial things that we got going on down here, and come back to that body that they left from just to be in pain, or to be paralyzed, or to not be able to speak? It's things like that that we don't take into consideration. But they can see all of it. They know that if they come back, at that point in time, they know that when they get back, they got to go through all of this stuff before they even can live a regular, decent life. And that's a regular, decent life in comparative to this world that we're in. This world is it's inconsiderate to think that you have a right to decide somebody else suffering after they've already been hit, killed, and then had to go on. You want them to suffer some more and to come back here just so that you can be comfortable, so that you get your chance to say goodbye and all this kind of stuff. You want to say goodbye? Pray. They hear you. There's no way in my head that I can reason to myself that they can't hear what's going on. God is in heaven. He rules over everything. He sees everything. It stands to reason that those who are in heaven with him have the same opportunity. They can see it all. They can lean over the edge of that cloud and look right at you and see what you're doing. Which, by the way, don't cut up if you don't want them seeing what you're doing. But, yeah, so, no. I don't believe that I was told lies growing up. I don't believe that everybody who was ever raised from the dead was just a fictional story. I don't believe any of that, because I've seen too many present day stories where people have been raised from the dead. And I believe within my heart that if they want to come back, they can come back. But it's just at the end of the day, you can't make them. It's not your choice. Your choice is to pray that happens. Their choice is to say yes or no. But I'm going to take a break from this because I'm pretty sure I'm going to have a lot of people who think I'm crazy and think I'm stupid, which at this point, I don't care. I mean, maybe when I was younger, and to be honest, I really didn't care what people thought back then either. So, you know, I'm turning 31 this year. I definitely couldn't care less about what you think. But I do have an obligation to make sure that I say my piece, because what I feel and what I've gone through and what I know to be true, somebody else hasn't heard these things. Somebody else doesn't, they've never been told, they've never been taught, they don't know what to look for when they're reading, they don't know, or they've been told, but they've been told exactly how I was told growing up, and they didn't get that lesson that I didn't get, that whole, it's not your choice. They didn't get the in-betweens and the, read between the lines, because there's a lot of reading between the lines, people. You can't just take it word for word. You have to read it and understand it. And if you can't understand it, you better pray for the Holy Ghost to tell you, because while you're sitting here saying, hey, God can't bring people back from the dead because it didn't work for you, it doesn't mean that he can't do it, because God can do anything. It doesn't mean that your prayers weren't working, because your prayers are getting there. He can hear your prayers, and if you're a good person, he understands and he wants to help you. But nothing overrides free will, which we all have. And even if you're dead and gone, you still have that free will. It's still your choice to decide what you want to do. And that's where people fall, because they don't know that. They don't understand it, and trying to understand it causes issues, because then in your brain you're warring with yourself. Well, I was told this, but this makes sense, but they told me blase, blase, blase. So just when you're reading, you have to really, open your mind, just like you did in school. Open your mind. You read what's on the paper, but then you think about it, and you get that understanding within yourself that, but what if I died and I went to heaven? Y'all sit here and call me back all you want to. I'm not coming. You have to do that to get an understanding. So I will be back later on to discuss other things. There are a lot of things, actually, that need to be discussed. Particularly things about what certain people should be doing right now. But a lot of people have lost faith, and I'm going to address that, but not right now, because as y'all can see, I'm at work and I am sitting here recording videos while I work. So I'm going to focus on my job real quick, and I'll get back to y'all. See you later.